My name is Cheryl Matthews, and my partner's name is Shantavia Montgomery. And today we're going to be talking about paper waste, buried in paper, the hidden environmental impact of office waste. Before discussing more about paper waste, we must first define what exactly is paper waste. According to Cambridge Dictionary, paper waste is defined as paper that has been used, is no longer wanted, and has been thrown away. However, what does this exactly mean? To understand the definition better, we'll need to see what paper waste is made up of. For example, newspapers, posters, magazines, packaging materials like cardboard and junk mail, among many other things, are made up of paper and can lead to paper waste occurring when they are no longer used.
Continuing on to what paper waste is, paper waste is one of the largest components of municipal solid waste. In 2018, America generated 67.4 million tons of paper waste, and though recycling is widely practiced, a significant portion still ends up in landfills, contributing to pollution and climate change.
Paper waste is also a part of a much bigger issue known as solid waste or everyday waste. From the chart that is showing on the screen, paper makes up about 26.6% or 27% of overall solid waste. This means that out of all different kinds of waste products such as food, wood, plastics, and glass, paper is the majority of waste that people produce. To further understand paper waste, we must also look at when was paper created, which would then lead to paper waste. In China, around 105 CE, a man named Kai Lun created paper. This became such a great phenomenon around the world since paper was easy to make, lighter to carry, and easier to travel to either other countries, nations, or even cities. This became such a new and fast-paced form of communication, yet when this occurred, it also started creating wasteful products, such as paper waste. With the creation of paper, other countries also wanted to adapt to this new form of communication. For instance, in the United States, the first paper mill was built in Pennsylvania, which used tree fibers to create paper. With this new invention, paper production and distribution became something more common rather than rare. However, with this new invention, environmental issues began to arise not just nationally, but globally as well, as paper mills became more frequent and used. The most known environmental issue is paper waste.
Continuing on from when did it start? Paper waste has been a growing problem since the Industrial Revolution, when paper production became widespread. However, the environmental impact of paper waste began receiving attention in the 1970s, alongside the rise of government movement. Recycling programs became more common in the 1980s and 1990s, but the use of disposable paper products had continued to grow, especially with the rise of online shopping.
There are many reasons why we should care about paper waste. One of these reasons is the financial loss it can create, especially among companies. For instance, businesses spend large amounts of money when unused paper is thrown away. Usually between 1 to 3% of revenue loss happens annually through ineffective operation of certain tools such as copiers, printers, and fax machines within the office space. A lot of this misuse can occur with misprints, paper jams, or any other reasons that the user might throw away the paper. A lot of this misuse translates into 50% of waste among businesses. Essentially, companies tend to overspend on paper waste when it's such an easy solution to fix. Paper waste also heavily impacts the environment in different ways. For instance, trees are known to be a major source for paper and paper products, with 42% of harvested trees going towards paper production. Paper waste also can lead to different kinds of pollution, such as water pollution due to pulp and paper industries, and global warming pollution. As paper continues to be produced, trees are threatened, and the creation of deforestation becomes an even greater issue for the environment, as well as water pollution and global warming pollution can lead to other harmful instances that can impact not just the environment, but also those living within it.
Continuing on as to why we should care about paper waste is because it contributes to deforestation, uses large amounts of water and energy, and emits greenhouse gases. It's not just an environmental issue, but also an economic one. Managing waste is costly for cities and taxpayers. When we look at all of these examples, we see that paper waste eludes a higher issue, causing many other problems in the environment. For instance, with deforestation, paper production is a leading cause of tree cutting. Forests are vital for carbon capture, biodiversity, and climate regulation. Then we got the water and energy use, landfill space, climate impact, and the economic cost as well. And those issues being a problem when we have things as paper waste. So next, when we look at the connection to Healthy People 2030, they strongly emphasize reducing environmental exposure and waste through its goal, which is to promote healthier environments to improve health. This includes reducing land, air, and water pollution, as well as supporting sustainable community practice. Their paper waste reduction directly supports their objectives, such as reduce air population exposure and improve waste management. And it aligns with the goal to promote healthier environments.
Healthy People 2030 recognized waste in general as a pressing health issue. In this case, waste is a dangerous threat to people's health, especially if they live close to a waste site or hazardous facility. For paper waste, people who live near the paper mills will most likely develop disorders and other medical conditions due to water or atmosphere pollution created by paper waste and other hazardous chemicals. We also must discuss the consequences of paper waste. One of the major ones is deforestation. Since trees are the main source for paper production, deforestation begins to become a norm since massive amounts of trees are being used. In this case, paper consumes about 13 to 15% of wood and globally consumes about 33 to 40%. As trees continue to be harvested, animals and plants also lose their habitats, which can create other negative effects in the environment. The other issue that paper waste creates is atmosphere pollution through greenhouse gas emissions. Since paper mills require and produce so much energy during paper production, greenhouse gases are emitted frequently into the atmosphere, creating air pollution, which can also affect humans and the overall environment. Water pollution is also another consequence of paper waste. In this case, paper mills produce toxic chemicals and waste that are then released into the water near the mill. This leakage that contains harmful chemicals or toxins can affect not just the people who live nearby, but also the aquatic ecosystem. For the people who do live by, they can develop different kinds of diseases when their water is polluted, such as respiratory or cardiac issues that could not just be temporary, but lifelong.
So, what does research have to say? Well, in the U.S., research supports expanding efficient recycling systems. Globally, countries like Germany and Japan have succeeded with public education and strong recycling policies. In the United Nations, they recommend circular economies where materials like paper are reused continuously.
Many countries around the globe have conducted their own research about paper waste in their respective nations. In the United States, cardboard and paper waste leads to an economic financial loss of $4 billion. United States researchers also found in 2019 that only 38% of paper waste was recycled, while 56% of paper and cardboard waste remained in landfills. Research has also shown that 25% of paper waste within landfills nationally came from the southeast region of the United States, primarily Florida and Tennessee. In the United Kingdom, paper waste is also a concern. In this case, 20% of all waste is paper. Of the 20%, the United Kingdom uses around 10 million tons of paper that eventually becomes waste.
So, what does research have to say? Well, in the U.S., research supports expanding efficient recycling systems. Globally, countries like Germany and Japan have succeeded with public education and strong recycling policies. In the United Nations, they recommend circular economies where materials like paper are reused continuously.
Recycling is such an important concept when trying to prevent or lessen paper waste. For instance, when buying school products, the supplies should be from recycled waste and bought in large quantities together. Also, parents, teachers, and even students should look at what products they have already before buying any more. As for businesses or offices, online forms of note taking or working should be heavily implemented so paper is not used as often. Also, having a recycling bin within reach in the office space can help to encourage proper paper waste disposal.
So the public health response, right? Well, some of the public health response from national, regional, and local is that nationally, the U.S. promotes recycling through EPA programs and grants for local waste management improvement. Regionally, states like California and New York has adopted zero waste policies, including restrictions or non-recyclable packaging. And locally, we have contacted the Keep Columbus Beautiful Commission, and they support recycling education, and hosts paper shredding and recycling events through the year to reduce paper waste in the community. This is important for public health to respond to a lot of these issues so that we can combat the issue or even stop it.
To see how paper waste affects a community, we reached out to a local organization in Columbus, Georgia, known as Keep Columbus Beautiful. When asked what is the overall mission of the organization, Avianca, who works with Keep Columbus Beautiful, mentioned that their goal is to engage and educate the community while also recognizing that Columbus residents have a responsibility to protect the environment through litter elimination. As for paper waste, Avianca expressed that Keep Columbus, Georgia Beautiful promotes recycling education along with shred events through collaboration with local partners to encourage responsible paper use. She also mentioned about community workshops and school programs to bring education about recycling. Keep Columbus, Georgia Beautiful also encourages the use of paperless practices within local government and business operations when applicable. As for interventions, Keep Columbus, Georgia Beautiful has community shred days where residents can dispose and recycle sensitive documents safely. They are also beginning to plan a paperless campaign with a business partner to lessen unnecessary printing for 1 month and encourage digital documentation instead. Keep Columbus, Georgia Beautiful also believes in talking about paper waste since it connects to environmental conservation, public responsibility, and resource management strategies. Also, they mentioned how paper waste adds to deforestation, greenhouse gas emissions, and increased costs. They believe that public education can help people to make sustainable choices which improve the environment and prevent or lessen paper waste. Keep Columbus, Georgia Beautiful also has seen the negative health effects of paper waste. They stated that paper waste can attract pests, lower community morale, and cause afflictions. These effects can also lead to hurting neighborhood pride and contribute to stress within undeserved areas. As for volunteering opportunities, Keep Columbus, Georgia Beautiful encourages residents to join or host community cleanups or beautification projects. They also recommend to volunteer or support their mission through donations or contributions in order to keep Columbus clean and green. Ways you can connect or interact with Keep Columbus, Georgia Beautiful is by going to their website shown on the screen, their Instagram, Keep Columbus Beautiful, or their Facebook, Keep Columbus, Georgia Beautiful Commission. Essentially, what should we do about paper waste? Individually, we can recycle paper waste by making sure our waste goes into the proper bins when throwing away our trash. As a community, we can promote recycling around the area by implementing recycle bins or providing education. Both individuals and the community can also promote digital forms such as e-receipts to help lower the use of paper, which in turn will lessen paper waste. It has also been proven that recycling prevents paper waste and how it affects the environment by using 33% less energy, emits 37% less greenhouse gases, produces 49% less wastewater, and 39% less solid waste.
So, what can we do individually and as a community? And what are some policy recommendations, right? So, individually, we can go paperless, reuse paper, and recycle properly. As communities, we can push for local ordinances, host educational drives, and support school-based recycling. These small changes make a big impact, and for policy recommendations, we can create lasting change by having strong policies. This means funding recycling programs in school, banning hard to recycle materials, and giving tax rates or incentives to businesses that use eco friendly packaging.
Thank you so much for listening to this presentation regarding paper waste and its effects on the environment. I want to thank you again for viewing this video, and I hope you enjoyed.